A moment, please. Pardon my intrusion, but I have another message to deliver to you. And if you don't mind my saying so, it's good to see you again. More like a summons, really. Comes from Abner Tharn, who once advised Emperor Varen of Cyrodiil. He wants to see you in Riverhold in Northern Elsweyr. Said it involves the Khajiit Defense Force and a rage of dragons, if you can believe it.
The Khajiit and Wood Elves have never gotten along. I mean, yes, we're in the same alliance now, but that means we just hate each other a little more quietly than usual.
I wonder where he could have gotten to. Headed into Darkpool Mine. Good. For me, I mean. Not for... maybe for you too. Who knows? Maradani could really use a strong set of claws. My partner Hadassah surveyed the mine. Plenty of sulfur and oil hereabouts, right? Only catch, the cave's full of cultists. And Daedra. I couldn't tell you what they're doing in there. It's nothing good. Still inside! A Daedrath caught us sniffing around, right? Hadass tried to tell it that joke he knows, to make friends, yes? Doubt it worked, but who knows? This one took off running. I feel a little bad about leaving Hadass. Would you look for him? Thanks for the help, Rook. Now, I don't want to alarm you, but with all the oil and sulfur, this mine could... Is there a gentler word for explode? Maybe that's what these Daedra work toward. Joan and Jude, one cataclysm at a time, right? Engineers. We build catapults, ballistae, that sort of thing for the Northern Elsweyr Defense Force. Can't scold people with boiling oil if you haven't got any oil, right? Sulfur's good for blowing things up too. Lucky us, we find both here. Like I said, blow things up. What else would we do with it? That Mascars Euraxia's built more walls than I have hairs. Maradani gets shivers just thinking about watching them collapse. Yeah, this one's too slick and clever to swing claws and swords around. Leave that to the Pomerat and the Sanchez, right? In times of war, the wise stand in the back and throw heavy things. Good motto to live by, yes? Maradan is no scholar, but they look like Mehrunes worshippers. Claws of Dagon, right? Had no idea so many of them lived in Northern Elsweyr. You can't let them finish whatever they're working on, Rook. Definitely. Plus, Mehrunes worshippers are the worst. Have you ever met one? Sour, sore-bottomed cats, always muttering about fire and groundquakes. Maradani loves blowing things up too, but she doesn't get creepy about it, you know?
you to serve!
Do not let yesterday take up too much of today.
There you are! Things seemed quieter, so Maradani came to look around. Did you find Hadass? And how about these cultists? I hope you gave them a swift kick in the tail. Stupid Hadass. Always thought he'd die from something silly like falling down a privy. I'll let his family know. And this hammer, scary business, right? I'll deliver it to the Main's priest. They'll know what to do with it. Thanks again, Uruk. Krah! How did you hold this hammer so long? Like hot coal on the paws, right? Maradani just can't drop it in a bucket of water and forget about it, can she? No, I guess not. Ha! Me? No. Maradani will report back to the Northern Elsweyr defense leadership. Then, they'll send a detachment of Senches and Palmar Skull Smashers to mop things up. Who knows how long that will take, though? There's a war on, after all, right?
Torval seems to regard their newest mane rather highly. To think there would be a day when all of Elsweyr bowed their head to one Khajiit. Not that it's likely to last, of course.
Be still now. You must save your strength. You have come to Cicatrice in a time of great danger, traveler friend. Toxic fumes permeate the air, and corpses walk among the ruins. It is best to turn away now before you share the fate of my dear companions. We were exploring the nearby oasis caverns when the fumes first began to spread. Only Najira and I were able to escape. The rest of my companions, weakened and disoriented by the poisoned air, ran farther into the caverns of the oasis. I would need to first create an antidote. However, I require samples from corpses that have absorbed the fumes. No easy task, given that something has awoken Cicatrice's dead. They now guard the ruins from any invaders. Thank you for the aid, traveler friend. The undead walk the ruins of Cicatrice, directly to the west. I would advise caution. So much trouble for my egg mother's research notes. I now wonder if traveling to this town was the right decision. When we entered the caverns of the oasis, all seemed quiet. Then, suddenly, fumes began to surround us. The corpses which littered the ground sprang to life and attacked. Najira and I were the only ones able to escape. The fumes must have disoriented them, for they ran farther into the caverns. By the time we found the entrance, Najira could barely walk. Even I, blessed as I am with Argonian blood, began to feel weak. These fumes are... Argonians have a far higher tolerance to poison than other races. Due to the nature of our homeland, that is why I was able to escape. But even so, it would be foolish to return to the oasis without first preparing. Precisely. An antidote will both allow us to enter the oasis safely and heal my companions of their weakness so that they may escape. That is why we must work quickly, traveler friend. Once, the town of Cicatrice was a cool blessing within the scalding desert. The oasis beneath the town was clear, and many believed it had power to heal their ailments. The town prospered from these many visitors and the trade they bought. When the Nahatan flu came to Elsweyr, many hoped that the oasis would heal them. They traveled here seeking hope, but brought their ailment with them. The town was quickly overcome with this sickness. Many died. They could not. The reigning monarchs quarantined infected towns in order to stop the disease from spreading. Cicatrice was eventually burned to the ground. And so, its people fled to the oasis. Their fate, however, is still unknown to me. When the Nahatan flu devastated Cicatrice, its people fled into the safety of the nearby oasis. They hoped that its healing waters could cure them of the disease. This effort was led by Nikusha, my egg mother. Yes, it is by her letters that I know of Cicatrice's suffering. She was a talented alchemist and hoped to develop a cure for the flu. However, this was many years ago. I do not believe she was successful. I hope to find my mother's research and share her findings. It's very likely she died here, trying to help those who had been so cruelly abandoned. Her great deeds should be shared with all of Elsweyr.
Then Najira will go alone. She will not sit idle while her friends suffer.
Please, don't be foolish. Najira, wait. I am glad to see you unharmed. Were you able to gather the samples? She fears for our companion's safety. I urged her to wait, for without an antidote she will quickly succumb to the fumes as well. But Najira refused to listen. I must begin my research. However, I still require a blossom of Arce's Lash. A cactus with a bright pink flower. It has great medicinal properties. Would you collect a blossom for me? The cactus can be found west of here, in a small glade atop a crag. In the meantime, I'll begin to study the samples you brought. Thank you once more for your aid, traveler friend. After I create an antidote, we can enter the Oasis Caverns and rescue my companions. Perhaps even find my egg mother's research notes as well. When the Nahatan flu devastated Cicatrice, its people...
How dare you intrude upon my oasis! Leave this place, now!
should do it. My antidote is nearly complete. All I need now is the Arcay's Lash Blossom. Were you able to get one? A Nereid? Most peculiar. I wonder if she's somehow connected to the Oasis. But there is no time to speculate while my companions are still in danger. I must deliver this antidote to them. With luck, it will give them the strength to escape. Thank you, traveler friend. I feared to ask, but already you volunteer. Make sure to drink some of the antidote before entering the Oasis caverns. And please, see if you can find my Egg Mother's research notes. My Egg Mother attempted to develop a cure for the Nahatan flu when it first struck Cicatrice. I am sure she kept meticulous notes about her progress. Such research will be vital to learning what happened here. Here you are, traveler friend. Let us hope this potion has the desired effect.
Cicatrice is a sad sight to see these days. It was once such a happy town, yes? Many came here seeking hope, and found it in the healing waters of the Oasis. Now there is nothing but death and decay. How miserable.
Iokas made medicine for Sister's cough, yet asked for nothing in return. A generous spirit lies beneath that scaly skin, yes?
You must leave here now. The very air is poisonous. Iokas, I knew he would not abandon us. You must hurry. My companions ran deeper into the caves. Let them know that I'll remain here, ready to tend to them. I will be all right. The fumes have weakened me, but not as much as the others. A blessing of my Argonian blood. I just need to rest a moment more.
Najira should have listened to Iokas. Thank you for saving this foolish one, Walker. She should not have returned.
Please, is anyone there? Thank you, stranger. This one will find her way out.
Bungie to die here. Did Iokas make this? Bungie must thank him.
Elsweyr. It's not the fumes. I heard someone in the central chamber.
It is all right, Laratan. I believe you. Thank you for saving my companions. Were you also able to find my Eggmother's research notes? They would be invaluable to learning what occurred here. Thank the Hist. I was worried her research would be lost forever. She writes of a Nereid who lives here. And how her research tainted the oasis. I see. This must be the root of all the despair we have encountered. The Nereid once made this oasis a place of healing. But by filling these caverns with sickness and death, it drastically changed her. She must be the one who created these fumes and raised these corpses. I'm afraid that the Nereid must be killed. She poses a threat to all who visit Cicatrice, and by raising the dead she has defiled many. Her death, Hist willing, will also allow this oasis to finally begin to heal. With your help, my Eggmother's terrible mistake can finally be mended. Thank you, traveler friend. For now, I'll lead my companions back to camp. Nereids are inherently linked to the body of water they inhabit. The plague victims stayed within these caverns for weeks. Slowly, they tainted the purity of the oasis. What was once a place of healing became a place of sickness and death. Precisely. As the clear waters of this oasis grew polluted, so too did her spirit. Once, the Nereid healed those who came to her. Now she seeks to infect and kill. She embodies the very plague which tainted her. I'm afraid it will still take many years to fully heal the oasis. But killing the Nereid will begin that process. Without her to create the fumes and raise corpses, the oasis has a chance to finally be cleansed.
I won't let anyone...
Not good. I was afraid of this. It does my heart good to see you unharmed. I trust the Nereid suffers no longer? In a way, I did learn what happened here. My Eggmother sought to create a cure for the plague. Instead, she corrupted the oasis with sickness and death. Everyone in Cicatrice died as a result of that corruption. But I did not journey to Cicatrice to seek her good intentions. There has been much animosity between the Khajiit and Argonian races because of the Nahatan flu. My people are immune to the disease, so many believe we created it. Through her research and sacrifice, I had hoped to bridge the gap between our people, prove that Argonians are not the cold-blooded monsters so many see us as. But sharing what happened at Cicatrice may only strengthen the Khajiit's hatred. I do not know. I must reflect on this. Still, I thank you for all that you've done. You saved my companions, found my egg mother's research, and helped the oasis begin to heal. No small feats to accomplish, traveler friend. May your path be easy and your footsteps sure. The foul wind of our misfortune has turned into a gentle breeze. My companions are recovering well. I will monitor them closely for the next few days and see how they progress. For now, they merely need to rest. I suspect both the fumes and the undead will linger for quite some time. Have no worries, though. I will make sure that its dangers are known to Elsweyr. Hopefully, an effort can one day be made to cleanse it completely. The Khajiit look up to their skies and see dragons soaring overhead. They look across their fields and see bloody battles raging. They have not the time nor resources to cleanse this oasis. Not now. The Nereid was the source of the corruption. It was her power that created toxic fumes and raised the undead. Kept alive, she would continue to do so. Now, the oasis can begin to heal. It may take decades, centuries even, but it will heal. How are our companions, Laratan?
All is well, Egg Brother. Your antidote has helped them immensely.
That's good to hear.
Iokas, were you able to find your mother's research notes?
Yes. Our traveler friend was able to collect them.
And what did they say? What happened to Cicatrice?
Let us speak of that after you've recovered. For now, you need to rest.
Thank you for saving this foolish one. She should have listened to Iokas and never gone back into those dreadful caverns. Speaking of our scaly companion, Najira hopes he is all right. He sounds so distraught.
Because of your help, our companions live. Still, there is much to do before they are well enough to travel. But do not worry. Iokas and I will tend to their needs.
Dramatra willingly, so be it. Namira, give me strength.
Time to hunt the hunters, Sarazi. We quarry, no glory. You have something to say, dull claws. Let's make it quick. You don't get muscles like these by standing around chewing the fat with outsiders. What, did you just wander up here like a lost mountain goat? This is Predator Mesa, the Hunter's Highland. Really? Nothing? Zisvo. Hunters come here to test their claws against savage beasts. A trial of strength and cunning. But mostly strength. Ha! Compared to vigorous Sarazi, you are a dry twig. This calls for a contest. Hunting beasts is one thing. Hunting hunters, though, that is a real test. 3 savage Khajiit hunt any person who enters the mesa. Whoever kills them all first, wins. Sarazi will give you a head start. This is sporting, yes? You'll see 3 prowling Khajiit on the mesa. Unless they see you first. Ha! There's a nesting griffin up there also. Quillmane. If you really want to impress me, kill him too. Having second thoughts already? Ha! It's not too late to slink away. In the face of these muscles and good looks, no one would blame you. Bah! That's the problem with you outsiders. No sense of humor. A joke! Except the part about the muscles and the good looks. That part is solemn truth. 3 hunters camp on the mesa. Zahalar, Kuzo, and Tahuda. Killers, all. Yes, indeed. Beasts, people, it's all the same on Predator Mesa. Anything with a pulse is fair game. These 3 live on the mesa year-round, hunting animals and each other. Now we hunt them all. Who am I? I'm Sarazi, strongest, swiftest, and slickest Khajiit hunter in Northern Elsweyr. Huh! Sarazi is still cementing his reputation. Give it time. I will tell you what my uncle told me. Long ago, a tribe of hunters settled here on the mesa and built a great temple to the hungry cat, Hircine. But their love of chasing and bloodshed drove them to hunt each other to death. Savage beasts started migrating here, settling around the temple. Eventually, the temple fell apart, and the wilderness took the whole mesa back. Something about this place brings out the hunter in every Khajiit. Like sugar and raw meat, yes?
You'll want to find another place to rest your feet, stranger. Please. Watch your step in the stitches. You'll want to find another place to rest your feet, stranger. These stitches are about to burst. It won't be much longer before the whole place unravels, as it were. There's a new Khajiit in charge, Kazda, and he enjoys throwing his weight around. Between this one and you, most in the stitches find Kazda's leadership lacking, but none will stand up to him. Though this one heard rumors Tasnasi is back. No friend of Kazda's, this one can tell you. She's recruiting for a job, or so the rumors say. This one doubts she'll have much luck convincing someone local to make an enemy of Kazda. But someone passing through. Last I heard, Tasnasi was camped on the north rim of the scar, but this one doubts she'll stick around for long. The moment Kazda catches wind of her, he'll have her throat slit. It's the closest thing to a settlement out here. Imagine a river hold on the edge of a cliff, painted with rum and horse dung. Then invite every outlaw, bandit, and exile to live there. That's the stitches. You didn't hear this from me, but he's a thug who thinks he's a king. Sits in Merville Keep, counting coin and letting his thugs run the stitches into the ground. Well, deeper into the ground. A thief who got run out of town not long after Kazda took over. He's the only one worth robbing in the stitches, so my gold's on her job involving his ill-gotten gains. Gutsy to cross Kazda, but he already wants her dead. What she got to lose? It's the closest thing to a settlement out here. Imagine.
Tasnazi does not know you. That's good. She knows everyone in the stitches. Those who aren't in Kazda's pocket, she can count on one paw. This one has a job for someone who'd rather pick it. An unknown face like yours is just what she needs. Kazda, the dung-eater that runs the stitches, has a hoard of gold beneath Merville Keep. Tasnazi plans to make it hers. Ours. If you're interested, we need to move soon. The stitches gets worse by the day. Kazda may leave, and his coin with him. To take from Kazda is no crime. His predecessor, Dashing the Salzo, amassed the coin. Kazda only wallows in it, like a pig in its filth. A cruel, stupid pig. Now he lets the stitches shuffle to ruin. This is his just punishment. We also need Tasnazi's old crew, Vol, Sarin, and Nazdar. Vol just did a job for Jubani. He'll be at her junk shop. Serene's likely at the Goiter's Gulp, and Nazdar caterwauling somewhere. We'll meet in the bowl at the bottom of the scar. Who do you want to know about? Best damn mechanist this side of Nibbin Bay. Not a common trait for a wood elf, this one knows, but it is true. Kazda's stronghold uses strange mechanisms to keep uninvited visitors out. Voles are passed through them. Maybe not the most distinguished mage in Elsweyr, but the best Taznazi is likely to get in the stitches. She spends more time with her head in a bottle than a book, but once she's dried out, she'll be invaluable for reaching the vaults unnoticed. The old adept was something back in his day. Taznazi heard he could break a boulder with his little claw. He doesn't fight much anymore, but he still has some moves. This one has seen them personally. He flows like water and is as silent as wind. Keep it quick. There's a lot to be done before we relieve Kazda of his riches. The lowest. Kazda clawed his way to the top of the Stitches with treachery and fear. The Stitches hasn't known law, but under dashing the Salzo, it knew relative peace, common purpose. Now it falls into anarchy. Kazda won't stop it, he creates it. The leader of the Stitches, before Kazda, he's dead and gone. All you need to know is, what was his is now Kazda's, soon to be ours. A den of outlaws in the shape of a town. There's not much to tell. What do you want to know? The facade of a legitimate business for Jubani Defense. Her gang loots and scavenges items all over the scar. She has a Bandari's knack for selling junk for far more than it's worth. What passes for a tavern in the Stitches. The Averno twins run a money-lending and pawn operation out of it. Don't let them sweet-talk you into any favors. They may seem harmless, but everything has a price with those two, and everyone pays. The sewer beneath Mervale Keep. We'll be able to gather there without attracting any unwanted attention, and it'll become clear why once you arrive.
Off of me. Jubani and I had a deal. I delivered.
True. But why keep paying when we can just make you do it for free? Now get inside.
Keep your nose clean around Jubani's. She doesn't like snoops.
trespassers lose an ear.
I'm getting out of here. Catch up to me so I can thank you properly. Thanks for your help back there. Jew Bonnie and her thugs are a bunch of hammers that think everything is a nail. Geniuses included. Altruism isn't a thing in the Stitches. So what do you want? Need a lock picked? Something repaired? Tarzansy, huh? That's funny. Was just thinking about her recently, seeing what's gone on around this dump. How it's gotten, dumpier than usual. But she's pulling together a job. I swore that Kazda ran her out of town when he took over. Last time I ran my mouth, Jew Bonnie sent her unexpectedly handsome thugs after me. I'm not spilling any more secrets. But it's nice to know Tosnacy's still around. She really loves this place after all. Even after everything that's happened to her. Well, Jew Bonnie's sure to notice I'm missing. Joining up with a crew seems like a good way to keep my fingers unbroken. So sure, whatever Tosnacy's playing at, I'm in. The bowel. Well, that's ironic. I'll head there after I get my tools and find another pair of small clothes. That Kazda ran her out of town? Or tried to, I guess. It's not any secret. He may be a rancid pile of cat vomit, but this is his town now. He does what he wants. Bad blood. Truth told, Tosnacy would have been charged after dashing to Salzo died, if things hadn't gone down the way they did. It's not my place to say anything more than that. Jew Bonnie runs the biggest salvage operation in the Stitches, and she knows she gets paid more if her salvage is in pure junk. When a crew found stuff that wasn't busted up, I fixed it. For pay. 'Cause that happened. He took over the Stitches and didn't care if people broke oaths, contracts, or ribs. Jew Bonnie saw a chance to get more labour for free. Just had to flex a little muscle. Don't let my rippling physique fool you. I'm, not much in a fight. Well, most don't. And to be fair, I wasn't always the brilliant tinkerer I am today. I don't know what caused the change, honestly. I think eating that soul gem had something to do with it. Well, I didn't just pluck one up and eat it. I was scouting for the Dominion way north. Some ruin called Sardathal. Was running from some guards when I fell into a shaft. And fell. And fell. It was a long fall. Caught a ledge at the last minute. Broke my fall. And my fingers. Real mess. Anyway, I found myself in this strange cavern. Huge. Had dwarven ruins. Biggest I've ever seen inside of it. More stone and metal than I could imagine. Not so much food. Not quite. I finally managed to find a charis. A big bug. Tastes awful, don't recommend it, but I ate like my life depended on it. I mean, it did. I half remember a glowing stone going in my mouth. Swallowed it whole before I even realised. More like indigestion, but also this indescribable urge to fiddle with the ruins. Well, I guess I'd call it curiosity. But anyway, I fixed an elevator like it was second nature and got back home. Then I got discharged on account of my weak hand.
Do you find me
The moons? Ah, my fur! What was in this bucket? Whatever your death wish is, it's granted! Oh, my head. Just tell me what you're doing here before I turn your heart into a tomato. Oh, really? Taznas is still kicking around? A little good news to go around with all this bad. Like a fly in wine. Be careful of the wine, by the way. There's flies in it. I didn't say that. Well, what I mean is that I'd like to, but if Taznasi wants me for my magical skill, I have some bad news. My focus is gone. I mean my other focus. My arcane focus. A bauble to focus magica. I'm useless without it. I may have pawned it to Lulius and Skippy and Averno. I'd give the gold back, but Kazda's really gouging the price of a bottle these days. Even the swill in this flop house. The Avernos are inside. Get my focus back, and I'll owe you. Ugh, well, sometimes my power gets a little out of control. The Mages Guild was supposed to help me master it, but they take a dim view of people breaking curfew and getting drunk on kitchen duty, and throwing up in the soup. When I need to cast a spell, I channel my magicka through the focus. It helps me weave everything together. Without it, my spells come out like tangled yarn, and the results are, well, unpredictable. Lulius and Skifion, they sit in the goitered cups like they own the place. Well, they do technically own it, but that's not the point. Ever since Kazda took over, the twins have doubled everyone's rent and the amount of water in the drinks. Because Kazda gets a nice kickback from all the money they bring in. And for good or ill, well, actually just ill. Kazda's in charge here, so he has the muscle. So the rest of us sit quietly and pay twice as much to get half as drunk. Ugh, well, sometimes my power gets a little out of control. The Mages Guild was supposed to help me master it, but they take a dim view of people breaking curfew and getting drunk on kitchen duty, and throwing up in the soup.
Something has upset my dear brother. I'll get to the very bottom of it later. Stave off boredom for a start. Begging a few vagrants to fight for a limp purse is the closest thing one gets to the Colosseum around here. Though it is fun watching Brother Dearest try to squeeze more gold from this toad of a town. You mean you don't know? Oh, my brother and I will need to keep our eyes on you, amongst other things. We're entrepreneurs. We lend money, rent land, arrange deals, for increasingly immodest percentages.
Unless you've come back bearing massage oils and nimble fingers, I am not really interested. The Goiter's Gulp? The only thing vaguely resembling a tavern from here to Riverhold. My dear brother and I are the new management. You would think the 6th-generation owners would be smarter than to use this place as collateral, but here we are. I know, but this dump is the only thing he could cough up for the loan. Still, dear brother and I managed to keep the business alive. It's a labor of love, I assure you. The love of money, I mean.
Blah, can't get the taste out of my mouth. It's awful. Good, Kazda's made the stitches unpalatable. Like that swill he's got the tavern pouring. I'm ready to get out, but I wouldn't mind batting Kazda's tail along the way. I'm sure Taznasi feels the same. I need a moment or two. Look, I'll meet you at the bowl once the world stops spinning. Look, you seem halfway decent, so don't stick your muzzle too far in, alright? Taznazi's got her own business, and I know too much about it already. I don't drink just because I like the flavor of the tavern's bilge. I'm hazy on the details. To be honest, I'm hazy on a lot of things these days. But I know Taznazi can't show her face in the stitches, and it's not just Kazda that'd like to see her dead. You've seen the type of people who call the stitches home. Thieves, smugglers, deserters. Nobody keen on laws. Of the few rules we have, she broke the one you don't break. Murder. I've said more than I should have already. It's in the past. Taznasi had her reasons. She always has her reasons. Not that I ever got to hear them. She's not going to stab you in the back if that's what's worrying you. Keep your mind on the job. Just a mage looking for something at the bottom of a bottle. I don't really know. And if I'm being honest, I don't know if I ever knew. Look, you seem halfway decent, so don't stick your muzzle too far in, alright? Taznaz.
Careful where you flaunt your wealth, Walker. You are You cut a striking figure, Walker. There are many dangers to such an enviable personage in the stitches. All of Elsweyr, in fact, if you cast the shadow long enough. Hear this one, and he will tell you how to grease the right pounds to pass unmolested. Just so, sleek one, just so. You walk tall, with the heavy footfalls that signify an abundance of pride and gold. Unless you wish to keep low and beneath notice, like humble Zaham, there is a price to be paid, willingly or not. Of course, Five Claw, of course! All the more reason to fear crossing the purring lyre on the road. The thief god delights in stealing pride even more than riches. Better to make a friend of Rajin first by acquiring him an offering or three. Start your pilgrimage here with the ledger from the Goiter's Gulp. An idol from Riemann would make a nice addition to this temple. Ah, and fine silks from the merchants at the Valenwood Gate. Yes. If you have not heard of Rajin, it is because he has stolen his name from your ears. Listen then, and pray he does not rob you further. The purring liar is the cleverest of Khajiit, and we are a clever lot. His stories are more plentiful than sand. Rajin is swift, sleek, and silver-tongued. What is there not to admire? But this one will lend you a secret. Rajin is the most beloved of gods because he was not always so blessed. Rajin was once a Khajiit like this one, though much larger and worthy of note, but so skilled a thief was he, that not even divinity was out of his reach. Khajiit who hear tales of the one who purloined godhood aspire to follow in his footsteps. Do you think you are above such work? Oh, Walker, do not invite Rajin's ire by looking down upon his deeds. If you do, he will surely play you for a fool and add your folly to his 1,000 tales. Craftiness is a noble art. Follow his example. If it were permitted, it wouldn't be theft. But just because it's illegal doesn't make it unworthy of veneration. Do you not cheer the gladiator because the law says not to strike another? Alas, no arena celebrates the clever thief. Are idols and vestments not fitting offerings for a temple to Rajin? But you wonder why these particular items, and not just anything, will do. It is because these things belong to those Rajin approves of robbing. Rajin's sleek shadow! You steal away moments of my life with a skill to rival the thief himself! Have you met a merchant, a priest, or a fence whose wealth could not stand to be humbled? Neither has the god of footpaths. Besides this one, of course.
Big upswing of bodyguard work since Kazna took over. Works for me. His pissant thugs give me a wide berth. Easy money.
Have you found one of my master's treasures? He's always interested in reclaiming what is rightfully his. Really? You look surprisingly sane for someone who's touched all 3 bottles. You must be incredibly resistant, or... well, it's none of my business. I cannot thank you enough. My master will be very pleased. I hope you didn't run into any trouble. Just one. The last person who returned these bottles found them under a pile of corpses. He was so affected by the wine that he purportedly spent the rest of his existence atop that mass of bodies. Fortunately, you seem to be immune to the curse. My master is a connoisseur of cursed collectibles. Wine, jewelry, paintings, people. Here is your reward. If you find more cursed items, please bring them here. I still hope that if his collection grows large enough, he'll no longer need me in it. Thank you again for returning my master's wine. If someone brings me the rest of his cursed collectibles, he might finally let me leave this place. I stole a cursed book from my master, and was punished by being trapped in this exact place, waiting to receive other stolen items. I've stared at this same wall of rocks for years, dreaming of using my legs again, if only to jump from this cliff. Never say his name, stranger. His name is more horrible than any curse.
Said Nalitha the Avuncular, even in somber times must the wayfarer be offered greetings. Nazdar greets you, wayfarer, though his times are somber indeed. What brings you to this one? Hotaza the Corpulent often said, the forgetting of friends is a grievous wrong. Wise words. Tasnasi has not visited him in some time, but this one has not forgotten her. So believe Nazdar when he regretfully declines her invitation. This one has lost a prized possession, a lute gifted by a dear, departed friend. It has buoyed Nazdar's soul for so long, he sinks without it. Weighed down as such, he cannot be the fleet walker Tasnasi needs him to be. Truly? This one was practicing his lute in the canyon below, but his playing attracted irascible beasts. He was forced to leave it behind as he scrambled up the cliffs. The truth, however, noxious is sweeter than rose blossom, to quote the venerable Bate. Nazdar plays, but not well. The others throw things at him when he practices, so he plays where he can be alone. A saint. He once led the Stitches, not to glory perhaps, but away from shame. Even saints do not live forever, nor did he. But as Ballant the Canonical said, the dead recalled in good memories are the true saints of our lives. As Zubacha the Hermit said to Intasi after returning from his grand pilgrimage, "Hello. This one is cheered to see you without the blemishes of harm." As often said by Polu the Overstating, this is worthy of celebration. You have done this one a great turn. In the dark days the Stitches find themselves in, it is good to hold a memory of brighter times. Your kindness reminds Nazdar of the love dashing Dasalzo had for the Stitches in life. This one recalls many joys in the company of Tasnazi and the others. He would like to feel them again. Nazdar will go where Tasnazi bids. A life of decades cannot be reckoned in minutes, so the blind poet has taught us. But Nazdar will do his best. The Stitches was once like it is today, a refuse pit of the spirit, home of vice, self-interest, and the vain depravities of life. De Salzo came to the gangs of the Stitches and showed them a common foe, Euraxia's armies. We harried them, stole from them, bled them dry, and we formed bonds. To quote Aidino the Aphoric, the greatest gift the indolent can receive is purpose. His death did not rip those bonds apart, but without De Salzo's care in keeping them tight-knit, they are unraveling nonetheless, and Kazda is pulling at the threads. But some, like Nazdar, keep De Salzo's memory and his hope. Nazdar knows you see more ribs than muscles on him. This is true, but he once was a brother of the Whispering Claw, so dedicated to that life he was, that he took a vow of silence. You have read the works of Vekla the Ephemeral. Nazdar is glad to know a fellow student. Yes, Nazdar was silent for 19 years, but one night in moonlight he heard through his cell a song, a simple tune but captivating. Some peasant tune hummed by a swineherd going home, but a Jarasti moonsinger said, "Beauty is not in the art, but in what it instills." In that moment, Nazdar knew he must sing, so he broke his vow and left the adeptorium to make music. You can make art for others, said Erka of the Bard College, or for yourself. Nazdar knows he is not good enough to make art for others, but Dashing the Salzo always encouraged Nazdar to make art for himself. Nazdar will never forget that.
That's everyone. Taznazi must speak with you.
To see Taznazi, Serene, and Vol once more warms me from ear to tail. The joy of friendship is best known by the heart in a reunion. So the fifth song of the Palatine verses goes.
Haven't seen the old crew in a while. Nazdar's looking spry as ever, and Serene still smells like a distillery.
Hooray! Everybody's here! Could we maybe keep the reunion to a whisper? This cave echoes and my head is killing me.
Taznazi has not seen her old crew in some time. Not since... Never mind. You were not followed, yes? Taznazi is not welcome in the Stitches. Associates of Taznazi, also not welcome. Kazda was lieutenant to Dashing the Salzo. Taznazi as well, until he was found with her knife in his back. No one cared if she was innocent. They wanted someone to blame, and Kazda gave them an answer. After everything, they turned their backs on her. It's not. No. You're right. Taznazi says she hates this place. She should hate this place. But the Stitches is her home, her family. Taznazi won't sit idle while Kazda destroys it. Her reasons aren't important. We should discuss the plan. Today, we hit Kazda right under his nose. We'll break into the basement of the Mirville Keep through this sewer, so long as Vol can pick the locks.
Ah, locks. Cute. Might as well be fancifully knotted ribbons to me.
Good. At the courtyard, we'll have sentries, but Serene's teleportation spell should let us pass unnoticed.
Were you talking to me?
We'll enter the palace through a second-floor storage room. Nazdar will scale the wall and drop a rope for us.
As spake Urwa the Observant. I see.
Taznazi and the newcomer will handle any trouble that comes our way. Let's get started.
To know the road you walk is a joy was recorded as the last words of Ofin Dentro. Our road is now known to us. It will be a joy to walk it. We need a way into the tower once we've crossed the courtyard. Nazdar will scale it and gain access. Years may befall the river, yet it still flows. The red cone is clear. You see a frail old cat, but Nazdar is a proud practitioner of the Whispering Claw. You will see.
As dumb as Kazda is, he never did skimp on security. Those locks he has in his dungeons are dwarven make. No one gets through those. Unless you're me, of course. The Bowel is part of the keep's old cistern. You can get up to its dungeons from here. The Salzo never used them, and neither does Kazda. Place is a dump. But Kazda's paranoid about his treasure. Had the doors fitted with dwarven locks. Yep, some scavenged dwarven artifacts cobbled together to make a lock that most saps couldn't crack. Kazda probably bought them off Jewbonny, and Jewbonny probably had them built by a particularly handsome and talented bossmer. That's me, by the way. Right. But we don't know what may have moved into the dungeons after Kazda stopped paying attention, so I'll be counting on you to watch my back.
Teleporting. I should have eaten breakfast today, instead of drinking it. Taznazi's route involves us crossing the courtyard. The safest way to cross it without being seen? Don't cross it. So I'm going to teleport us, which is something I can absolutely do. It's hard to do even when you're not hungover, even if you've had a complete education from the Mages Guild. I mean, I've done it before, a couple of times, and it largely worked out fine. So let's give me the benefit of the doubt. Oh, why didn't I think of that? I'll just wave my tail and have us there in time for tea. I have to see where I'm going. If I was just guessing, Veed... Well, I don't guess anymore, so there.
Good to be working. You're less of a taskmaster than Jewbonny. Now, let's find some more locks.
Good luck, and work quickly.
There's the lock. Watch my back, won't you? One down. Let's get going. Might need an ebony pick for this one. You know the drill. A bit stiff, that one. Glad I'll keep machine grease in my hair. Kazda's done some redecorating, I see. Sure I like it. Keep the coast clear, won't you? There. Hope that's the last of them. My fingers are getting sore. Hey, that's our way to the courtyard.
They're through. No lagging behind.
Keep up,
Serene, it's your turn.
Everyone stand still. You're making me crazy. Just need to concentrate. Focus the power. Imagine the destination. Alright, here we go.
What the...
So far, so good. Now roll.
You're sure?
To quote the barkeep, you look sick.
That's not good.
This one prefers his feet.
Thought I lost you. Moons, you're not hurt, are you? All your limbs in place? And Nazdar's looking pretty good, actually. Now the not good. You and Nazdar didn't quite make it to where I intended, and it will be a while before I can cast something like that again. You'll have to make your own way here. There is a basic rule of spellcraft. Do not attempt while drunk, or while recently drunk. Never been great with rules. I ended up losing control of the spell while attempting to teleport you and Nazdar. Sorry about that. Taznasi wants you and Nazdar to make your way to the base of the South Tower. That's where we're waiting. She also was very insistent. Avoid killing any of the guards. Northwest? East-ish? You have to come through the courtyard, which means avoiding patrols. Don't get caught. Taznasi is going to be pretty upset if you kill anyone. She says it will raise alarms, but I know the truth. It's because Taznazi used to run with them. They were all part of Dashing Dasalso's crew back in the day. She tries to act like she doesn't care about them after they exiled her, but it's a lie.
Nazdar advises patience. We can avoid the sentries if we are calm. Heed the tenets of the Whispering Claw, and no one will pay you any more mind than they would a lark's shadow. The words of Nazdar's master, the venerable Beludar. At his age, Nazdar's aches are like raindrops. Whether they come as a drizzle or a flood, they are too numerous to count. If something is missing, he has not noticed. Walk softly, Master Hendo taught me. If we get into trouble, be warned. I cannot help. My fists are weapons no longer. Soft as a whisper, quick as a shout. The first finger of the Whispering Claw teaches.
You made it, both of you. Taznazi is glad.
Sorry about that. When this is all done, I'll buy you a drink.
Moon's mercy, Serene. When we're done here, I will smash every bottle of wine in Elsweyr.
Not if I drink them first.
Nazdar, you're our way into this tower. Ready?
The ascent of the body is nothing compared to that of the soul. Saint Yosito spoke wisely.
Your knees shouldn't make that noise, right?
They should make no noise, Vol.
Taznazi's gotten tense. More tense than usual. Things could have gone smoother so far, sure, but she's not one to get rattled.
Nazdar did well to get us inside, but it looks like this strain was more than he could handle. He needs rest. Which means Taznazi needs to change her plans. Vol is the closest thing we have to a healer. He might be able to get Nazdar moving again, but he needs time, which means he won't be able to pick the locks on Kazda's vaults. Taznazi wants you and Serene to get the vault keys. This one has other business in the palace. When she's done with it, she will meet you at the entrance to the vault, on the lower floors. Taznazi has always said she was innocent of the Salzo's death, and she knows in her heart that Kazda was behind it. She must have proof, not to show the stitches, but to quiet her own soul. She needs that more than her share of the gold. Take care getting the keys. The thugs in this palace are Kazda's most loyal, and just as vicious and cruel as he. Expect no mercy, and give none. Serene will help keep things quiet in case fighting breaks out. Yes, Taznazi has gotten used to being on her own ever since the Salzo died. She knows this place like the back of her paw. She'll be fine. Nazdar has to stay behind. He's in no condition to creep through the palace right now. Hopefully Vol can get him back on his feet in time for an expedient departure. As long as they stay back in this old storeroom, they should be fine. That was different. Many of the keep's guards were close to the Salzo. They follow Kazda only because they must. The lapdogs in this palace are loyal to Kazda alone. The ones who are closest to Kazda do not show loyalty because they are virtuous, but because he allows them to indulge their worst impulses. I am not telling you to punish them, only that they won't be missed by anyone in the stitches.
I'm no healer, but even I can tell Nuzdar's really ground his gears this time. Maybe lost a few bearings while he was at it. The body's not so different from a machine when you think about it. I can patch him up, I'm sure of it. Yes? I mean, yes. Just need to lubricate the joints, I figure. This won't be a problem. Besides, it's not like I don't understand Khajiit anatomy. The Green Pact fought some deserters in Reaper's March a few years back. Anyway, now's not the time to talk about food. I have work to do. We'll be fine. If Taznasi says the guards don't come back here, I'll trust her. She knew this place like it was the house she grew up in. Which, I suppose it was. Back when Dashing de Salzo still ran things.
No rest, wrote the ascetic Vulado, is sweeter than one following great exertion. Nazdar thinks perhaps he did not stretch properly before his climb. He is no longer the spry 80-year-old he once was. Nazdar's knees tried to tell him he was no longer able to prance like a kitten, but he did not heed them. They are angry with him now. They are only sprains. Aches. Can and should, wrote Rid Tharidata, and knowing the difference between them is the cornerstone of wisdom. With Vol's ministrations, Nazdar will be back to his former self in an hour, perhaps more. Do not worry for him.
Well, better I'm paired up with you than the ancient adept or the smarmy wood elf. You look like you can handle a scuffle. I'm only good at knocking myself out with a bottle, but I know a spell or two to muffle the noise of the brawl. They'll be with his lieutenants, I'll bet. They come to the Goiter's Gulp every few nights, get drunk and blather on about how much the boss trusts them and lets them get away with murder. Literally. They're bound to be in the palace. Somewhere. You know how many bar brawls I have to try to sleep through in the stitches? Trust me, I know I can cast that one drunk. Now, if there were only a spell to protect from rude awakenings involving buckets. They'll be with his lieutenants, I'll bet. They come to the...
you are. He's got her. He's got her.
Keep it down. What are you talking about?
Kazda, he and his bodyguard, biggest I've ever seen. They cornered Tasnasi and took her back there. You have to save her.
If Nazdar's body did not protest, if he had been a few years younger, she would not be in such danger. Forgive him. Please, find Tasnazi. Vol and I heard voices. We hid as they grew close. It was two of Kazda's guards, gloating about Tasnazi's capture. Tasnazi had been found looking through records, books. Kazda caught her in the act. Nazdar does not understand. Books were not the riches she said she sought. What wealth there is in knowledge cannot be measured in coin, as Ulu said, perhaps.
You have to free Tasnasi. Kazda's gonna kill her. Deeper into the palace, the room carved into the rock. I popped the lock, but Kazda's enforcer is with him. Never seen a minotaur that big. Cud, that's what Kazda calls him. Had him since he took over the stitches, but I don't know his story. Not exactly the talkative type, always chewing something. If it comes down to it, I'd fight dirty. Cud's all muscle, I'll bet.
If Tasnazi's been taken, it won't be long before Kazda kills her. You're the only ones that can do something about it. Vol and I are no good in a fight, and Nazdar looks like he'd get blown over by a gentle breeze. You're the best bet we have of getting in, getting Tasnazi, and getting out. Don't worry about us. We'll find our own way out of the keep.
You're always naive, Tasnasi. You and the Salso both. So focused on the future that you never could see the night behind you. You have one friend left in this world, it seems. Not for much longer. Cut! You'll regret crossing Kazda!
He's getting away! Untie me! After him!
Please, Tasnasi, spare me!
Shut up, Kazda! One more word from your lying tongue and Tasnazi will claw it out! He did it. Everything Tasnazi suspected him of. He killed the Salzo. He had her take the blame. He was proud of it. Now that I have my claws at his throat, he discovers the meaning of mercy. He took this one's home from her, the only one she has known, and he couldn't give it back if he wanted to. She has no proof but his word. Even if he confessed and cleared her name, the stitches she would return to is not the one she left behind. One joy is left to Tasnazi, to kill Kazda. Then she leaves this all behind her, for good. The Salzo is dead. Everyone Tasnazi has ever known turned their back on her. The stitches are in shambles. Why would this one ever want to return to such a place? You are right. Tasnazi has tried to forget, tried to move on. Not a night goes by that she doesn't dream of times past. She knows what must be done. Tasnazi will make this one face the justice of the stitches. Wait for her at the tavern in town. Tasnasi will only make this offer once. Confess to the stitches for all you have done, and she will not try out your torture devices for herself.
Tasnasi, you...
Get up. All the Stitches will hear the truth from your lips before the day is done. My friend. No, more than that. Family. Kazda's deeds have been made known to the Stitches. Tasnazi's name is cleared. For now, at least, there is something to drink to. Or, in Serene's case, something else to drink to. Now Tasnazi is home, and you enjoy her hospitality. Raise a mug, kick up your feet, and count your coin. There is much to be done to fix the damage Kazda did, but that is for Tasnazi to worry about. Your work is done, even if hers is just beginning. Strange as it seems, Tasnazi is not only forgiven in the Stitches, she is looked up to. It will take time for the Stitches to be as it was. Maybe it will never get there, but even if she cannot live up to Dashing the Salzo's legacy, Tasnazi will try. So much as anyone can be in charge of the Stitches. With Kazda in exile, there's hope of going back to how it was, how Dashing the Salzo saw it. They have not entirely forgotten him, or Tasnazi. She'll do her part. We all will. The job is done. Their lives are their own. But Tasnazi wants to make life better in the Stitches, and she will need help to do so. She could use them, Vol's tinkering, Serene's magic, Nazdar's wisdom, if they will offer it.
Well, we didn't get into the vault. Normally I'd call the job a wash, but it seems like Tasnasi owns the vault now, so I guess you could say the job was a success. Funny how things work out.
Do not mistake a righted wrong for an undone wrong, I believe is the mantra of Gautfang Master Junri. Nazdar is glad to know Tasnasi's name is restored, but perhaps gladder to know she faced this tragedy and overcame it.
How many of those Avernal brothers are there? It's like a couple more every time I look over. I swear they are multiplying.